Hi friends, this is Caitlin. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm making a really fun Mother's Day shutter card. That's a mouthful to say. Using the new shutter card dies from Pink & Mane. Today is the day of their April release. So there is a whole new release of interactive dies, freestanding dies, new stamps, new foils, and we're just so excited to be celebrating the release. There is an Instagram hop happening today, so you can go check that out. I'll have it linked down in the description below. But I always love to share my hop cards with you over here. So I'm prepping my card base right now. You take a 8.5 by 5.5 piece of cardstock. You score it at 2 1/4 from each edge, and that way your both sides fold and meet in the middle. The original, I made a card. You can see it up in the top left corner, the way that it looks in the packaging pictures, like the inspiration pictures. But I decided I wanted to zhuzh it up a little extra. So instead of 2 front panels, I'm cutting 4 with my die, and we're going to put those on the outside and the inside. Then I also cut this rectangle that's the same length as those panels, just wider, and I'm adding that to this middle section just so some of that white space is filled in. You don't have to do this. I just really wanted to show a way to kind of elevate or change up the style to kind of really make it feel like your own fun project. So you can see the one on the left is kind of standard, and then the one that I'm making with the purple has some extra bits to it. So you have options. I love a card set that gives us options. So I'm adding those panels just with some tape runner, something that I can kind of reposition for a second if I have to. My scoring wasn't the best ever, so I had a little bit of an overlap. I just decided to trim one edge from my card, and now it folds perfectly. They meet perfectly in the middle. And I'm grabbing some of this purple with white polka dot paper. It's a gradient on one side and dots on the other. This is new with the Pink & Mane release as well. And this actually is a card from my mom for Mother's Day, for the record. I already warned her not to watch this. So you die cut 2 of these little flag pieces, and I'm reinforcing the folds here because there's a stitched element near the score line. And if you're not careful, your paper will want to fold on the stitches. So I'm just reinforcing. If your die cut machine has a little more pressure and you get a really crisp score line, then you can probably skip that part. So I also cut the main center rectangle there that has the hole cut out. I cut these 2 pieces that form together to make this little belly band, as well as a white scallop that's going to get added right on top. And then the purple circle that popped out of that larger rectangle that you can see over there to the left, the reverse side of it doesn't have the dots, it has the gradient. And so that was the perfect element to make a center sentiment that was going to really pop with all of that light purple that we're building. This will be that dark purple, like pow, that high contrast with the white embossing powder. So I'm stamping this little circle icon. It says most amazing grandma, I think that's what it says. I'll hold it up in a second. And this is from one of the new stamp sets. You can see on the practice card, I stamped it directly onto my card base with purple ink. Still very cute. But I love how the embossing just like bumps it a little extra. You get the shine, you get the texture. It really helps it to kind of hold its own with everything else going on. So I'm adding some really heavy duty double-sided tape to my little flags, and we're going to pop those into place so that they're overlapping. And I am going to use that center rectangle just to kind of get an idea of height right? Like spacing how high or low it needs to be so that it's centered without having to measure, because I don't like that. I don't like measuring if I don't have to. Once I have one side lined up, I can use the other just to match the stitching across both panels, and then that's ready to go. When we close those, you can see they make that diamond shape. I'm going to just use that to make sure my sentiment is in the right place and press that down. So when the card's open, that's how the sentiment is going to show. But to hold those flaps down, now we're going to add some double-sided tape to the little flaps on our center rectangle panel. And this is going to line up perfectly with that purple circle that we laid down before. But because the diamond's there, you're not really going to see that. But just know that it would line up if we needed it to. And I'm going to add that panel right into the center section there. And just make sure everything is closing the way I want it to. For our belly band, I'm going to add a strip of double-sided tape, right? Or tape runner, that one. And attach my little scallop there. You want to make sure that the little slits that are cut into it don't get glued shut so that the other side of your band can slide in. And then I'm just going to pinch those into place. I added some tape adhesive to the little tabs that come on there. We kind of pinched it, kind of held it around the front right where I wanted it to be, and just fold those tabs over, press them down, and then your belly band is ready to go. It's like a faux band. It doesn't go all the way around. If you wanted it to, you could definitely just cut a rectangle and glue it onto the back of your card too. I grabbed these older butterfly stamps from Pink and Main. I've had these for a couple years. My mom is a ultimate butterfly and dragonfly fan, so I just knew that these would be really fun to add to kind of create some extra interest on the card. One of the other Pink and Main girlies, Donna, was making the style of the shutter card, and she was making like a whole scene inside her card. And so now I feel like I want to go back and try that and make like a little scene that pops up like when you open it. So that'll be next. But I still love this one. And I think for my intended recipient, she will very much appreciate these little butterflies. So I'm going to go in with the same colors for all three butterflies. And I'm using Olos. And I've stamped these with Honeybee Stamps Intense Black ink. And I've stamped it onto Pink and Main's Ice Rink cardstock. I find that when I'm using Olos, the heavier Ice Rink cardstock works a lot better than my Copic Express It. Too much ink comes out of my Olos for my Copic paper. And that could totally just be me and how I hold my pen or how I'm coloring. But I have much better results if I'm using a more standard cardstock versus that Copic paper that has a little bit of like a slip to it. So for the two smaller butterflies, those are going to go on the inside. I colored them so that the bigger, like outer part of the wings were the darker purple and that inner layer was light. And then for this big butterfly that's going on our belly band, I reversed it. So the main bigger part of the wing, outer part, is going to be the light purples, and the darker purpley pink is going to go on those little center inner parts of the wings. We're also going to go back in a second with some white gel pen and add lots of little fun dots to break all of this color up and to emphasize kind of the texture and bumps over the little butterfly bodies. So much chance to customize your images here and really make them match whatever else you've got going on with your card. I think this is just such a cool set, and I love the interactive element without having a lot of little fiddly bits unless you want them to be there. Like this is an easier one for people who might have a hard time moving around all those little itty bitty dies in some of our other like die scene sets. this interactive shutter card die. Everything is big and easy to adhere for sure. So I'm going to go in with my coordinating butterfly dies and get those cut out. Like I said, this big butterfly is going on my belly band, and my two smaller butterflies are going to go inside on top of that polka dot panel. Everything's just getting added with tape runner, nice and easy. And then the final step is going to be adding a little purple rhinestone to my outside butterfly, because these little purple rhinestones came out, I think, last month or the month before, and I haven't gotten to use them yet. So that is my finished Mother's Day shutter card. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're inspired to go check out Pink & Main's Hop and the new release. I hope that you have an amazing day. I will see you soon. And until next time, happy crafting.